So I want to kind of like start wrapping that up. All right. So we're going to be picking up where we left off with Vintage Storge. It's going to pop on into my run. We're actually, it's looking like to get to steel, we're going to be hitting right about 100 hours. To give you an idea of the time we have invested in this run, we won't probably hit, I mean, we're not going to hit the 100 hours tonight. That'd be a 14-hour stream, and I'm not down with that. But when it comes to all of it, like, the crafting is far more in depth. You've got a lot more going on there. And so, for those who missed yesterday, the big thing is we've got all of our stuff set up over here for the steel production. We expanded our windmills up there. But the most important thing that's going on is steel. We are officially making steel. Now, the catch of how this works is I've got the charcoal in there, and I gotta keep topping it off until the steel is done, which is supposed to take about 7 in-game days. So, amusingly enough, we're starting this, and I'm not gonna have the steel done this stream, realistically. But that's okay. This does free me up to work on other things, though, other than just trying to keep the steel going. Now, I'm hoping... Yeah, it looks like it won't be able to put that in there. Alright. So. This does mean we can work on other projects. How much longer do I have? Okay, so we got about 3-4 days until... Yeah, it looks like 3-4 days until we get our second round of all our bushes here. And all that stuff. So one of the things we can work is let's work in getting our charcoal all collected. And all that. We are midsummer. But yeah, so in this game where you would play a game like Minecraft and genuinely like surviving from a starvation kind of standpoint is really not a big thing. It's kind of a big old nothing burger to deal with that. Whereas in Vintage Story, getting through your first year, it's not like insurmountable, like you're gonna be like, oh my god, I just need to figure out where I can find my next meal. Like, it's not, playing, you know, The Long Dark on its hardest mode, but it's definitely, like, way harder than, say, like, Project Zomboid when it comes to surviving the elements. Like, Project Zomboid, it is a genuine big nothing burger when it comes to surviving the elements. The zombies are your threat. But, like, this one, you start getting farther and farther in the winter with some prep, and you see that food going down, you're going, oh man, what do I do? You know, and then once you've kind of established yourself and you got your farm going really good, it's not that terrible to get through. Oh, new game On the Edge? No, I'm Not Human. Yeah, no, I haven't got a chance to look at that. I believe it was, I think Sal Berry rated us the other day and she had been playing that. I want to say she said it was pretty good. I didn't get a chance to actually look into it at all, though. See if it's a fit for the channel or anything like that. Alright, so I'm going to need to make some more shovels. So I can get that all sorted. Oh, I have these over here. It's a puzzle horror? Oh yeah, no, it's not a good fit for the channel. I've generally found puzzle games to be extremely hard to stream. And then horror just really doesn't fit the vibe of the channel. Not that we never do them, but it's pretty rare. Like, we did Doki Doki Literature Club, and stuff that. But, like, the type of horror, like, you know, Amnesia, Alien Isolation, those kinds, that's, like, antithetical to the style of content I typically do on the channel. Okay, we got our peat. Those are going for 11 more in-game hours, which is about, you know, 11, 12 minutes, whatever it ends up actually being. So we got our new shovels. The other thing I could work on, how about after we did this round, let's see what I got to do to try and get our, get sturdy leather happening. because that's a project I can work on. Because that's kind of the nice thing about having it where now we're just processing the steel, is it genuinely feels like I'm kind of free to just work on whatever. Whereas trying to get the steel online, I really was specifically trying to build the things just to get that set up. And we're just kind of waiting on the pit kilns to do all that. But your favorite part of being sick is that point where it's almost over, but in the meantime, everything is 1,000 worse and your body hates you. Very fun. I don't know, that doesn't sound like fun. Maybe our interpretations of fun are very different. Hey Lardine, how's it going? Okay. But yeah, so like, it's kind of like when I'm trying to get steel set up. There was that whole hurry up and like get all the blocks in place, get the coffin built, get all that stuff where I could get like nothing out of it until the whole project was done. And now that's like literally just kind of a timer. I just got to keep feeding charcoal into it every once in a while. I can kind of run over and be like, all right, well, I'm going to go do this other thing. Hey, Cinderlash, how's it going? But yeah, for the record, I did enjoy all the games we played today. We've honestly switched more categories today than usual, because we did the Iterate demo, we did Whisker Woods demo, and both of those were really good. Whisker Woods is honestly one that, it definitely needs some tweaks and adjustments, but was genuinely, like, really, like, I think it's got the potential to be a game kind of up there with Timberborn, even though they're very, very different. I do think it's one of those ones that's going to hold up really, really well. You did not like the Iterate screen shake. I think you could turn off the screen shake. Yeah, that one, Iterate is definitely the less accessible of them with the camera rotation, the smooth camera, and the shake. There's definitely... Oh, actually, no, you couldn't because it didn't even have a good options or settings thing. Hopefully they get that resolved because very genuinely, there's a lot of that. Like, there's a lot they could do to improve that from an accessibility standpoint. I just kind of didn't think about it too much because it's a very early demo. But both those were excellent. We did Ale Abbey. I think Ale Abbey also is very fun. I was just kind of running into from the content creator's perspective, is kind of feeling like, no, get on with it. Like, me playing the game, it was, like, fun and chill, but it was definitely kind of going, I need you to be doing more. And granted, I'm sure I could do stuff to speed up the process, so instead of doing, like, the convenience technology, getting the next unlock kind of thing, but I was already being like, you know what, I want to get the people who sweep up the floor so I don't have to. But that's not unusual. There's a lot of really fantastic games that are just not great for content creation. Like, you're generally not going to see someone playing Fallout Shelter on stream. Not normally. Like, I could see someone who, like, Fallout is their thing. I could see it working. Where they could discuss lore and all that kind of stuff. But, like, Fallout Shelter the game, where it's just having the grid up and then touching the individual rooms when it's time to collect the resources. And then, you know, sending them out and being like, okay, well, now I have to wait half an hour for them to get there. It would be a game that'd be very, very hard to make content for. But yeah, no, I enjoyed them all. It's also been nice to be getting a little bit like popping around and doing the variety. I also like supporting developers and publishers who, you know, who I know do excellent stuff, and Hooded Horse is fantastic, as is Fire Shrine. I got to meet them at TwitchCon in the past, and they were both things. But the Fallout Shelter got annoying when it came down to handling Deathclaws. Had people in full power armor, decent weapons, and still having near disaster. Yeah, no, like, it was one of those things, I think it was intended on being the active gameplay. That, with Fallout Shelter, you'd have it where it triggered the Deathclaws showing up, and you'd, you know, basically have to use the stim packs. And it was manageable if you were hovering over it. But then you sit there and you're kind of like, man, you know what kind of game this is? It's supposed to be an idle game kind of game. I'm supposed to send my people out, and eventually I have to call them back. You know, check on it every once in a while. Not hover over the button and make sure I time the stim pack accordingly. Okay. Right, so let's go look at what sturdy leather requires. So for sturdy leather, I need chromium tanned hide. And for chromium tanned hide, I need chromium sulfate. And for chromium sulfate, I need crushed chromite and sulfuric acid. Sulfuric acid requires saltpeter and sulfur and water. So saltpeter requires saltpeter block. It's a soil mineral. So I don't think I've seen saltpeter. So trying to think of like how we want to put some like notes. Wait, I probably have the objectives text thing. We haven't used this in a while. So show you, objectives text. So we are looking for saltpeter. So saltpeter would get that going. We already have powdered, like I literally even have powdered sulfur. I would need chromite. For that. So we would do this. Okay, so that's what I would need to do the sturdy leather. Now, the other thing we could do is for the titanium. Alright. So that'd be ilmenite or whatever. And I know I did that lowercase just so I can actually make out what it is. So that's another thing I can work on. There was stuff that was gold and silver that we have potential to look into. So gold. So where was the gold ore? Bountiful crystallized chunk of native gold. So literally gold is just called gold. But it looks like it's found in quartz. Literally I'm seeing it just in quartz. So we can look for gold. And we can look for silver. And silver ore looks like it happens in a lot of stuff. And it's just called silver. It can also happen in quartz, though. Like I'm seeing it listed in a lot of quartz. Okay, so it looks like the silver and gold can happen in quartz and lead and a bunch of stuff. Alright, so is there anything else that we potentially have to look at with all that? That's kind of what I'm looking at for whatnot. The gold / silver, and I'll just mark them both as quartz. Even though silver can happen in more stuff, we can do that. Alright, so let me go ahead and choose OK there. And I'll need to just pop this out here, unlock it, extend that to have a little bit of overlap, and lock it again. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. We'll just leave it as objective. So, right. So those are 3 different things I can work on. So you can look for saltpeter, chromonite, and all that. And people mention that saltpeter is in caves. I do have a cave system literally underneath my base that has been an aggravation from things spawning in. So let's go peek at some of this. Now, I don't know what the rules are for all of this, but we'll go peek at like a bunch of this. From the way it looked like kind of a white coating. This is not nearly deep. I found the wolf, who is clearly confused. So that wolf that's been tormenting us for years and years, making us wonder where it is, we have located it. It's been hiding underneath the earth the whole time. Yeah, I'm assuming we're going to have to go way deeper than that for... I think... Oh, you know what we could do? Hold that. Slight change of plans. Slight change of plans. We're going to ignore all those things I just said. We can do the story thing. Where they wanted me to get a tin axe. Or tin pickaxe. I'm pretty sure it's tin pickaxe. Or not. Tin bronze pickaxe. Okay, and go here. Okay. Yeah, so I gotta remember the medium and small ones. Or the medium and small leather. Can't do much with. Alright. So what we're going to do is I'm going to change up what we're looking for. Now we're going to look for tin to make tin bronze to make the pickaxe for all that. Let's take 2 more seconds. We're going to look at our objective lists. And I need... So let's quickly look here. So, tin, bronze. And I believe they want a pickaxe. We'll get the tin bronze. We'll figure it out there. So tin bronze pickaxe. Da-da-da. Tin bronze. And tin bronze is copper and cassiterite. Or tin bits. What's cassiterite? Right, whatever. Locate cassiterite, whatever it is. Da-da-da-da-da. Too many ites. Alright. Cool, so that is located, not locate. We're looking for the cassiterite. Because with that, I should... Oh, I'm also going to need copper? Boo. I didn't realize I needed that. That's fine. I'll probably also need the copper. The good news, I already know where to find copper. And why are you showing my category wrong over here? Stop that. Vintage story. Okay. So with that, what we can do here is we can pull up our map, and we can go look for the cassiterite. So if we look at our map, we have a hit right there. Ultra high cassiterite. So that's gonna be definitely where we're gonna go for that. Do not delete that marking. I'm gonna add a thing right there that goes here. Pin save. Oh, here, let me get rid of the queue. The queue's not relevant anymore. Unpin the message. And queue closed. Alright, but before we go there, so let's see. I've got a pickaxe on me. That's fine. I've got material to make more pickaxes, so I'm not actually worried about that. Sadly, we cannot name the berry bushes. So, you asked for the impossible. Okay. Alright, so let's see if I can just huck some more charcoal in there and keep it going. Because this is new to me. We're going to figure out how this works. Okay, so we've re-upped the charcoal. So that way, if we take a little while out there, I don't have to worry about my steel finishing up. Well, forgive them, the game is still early access. Man, early access is such a meaningless term nowadays. Alright. Everything is early access. So, we are looking for the Cassiterite. And we've got a place that's supposed to be ultra high commonality. We can go and scooch you all over, grab the pickaxe, put that in the bar. I need to make more pickaxes. I've got the iron bars, I just haven't done it. And our iron mine still has tons of stuff there. But I gotta wait for my pit kilns. They're refiring up the fire clay brick so that I can keep making iron blooms to process. But so while we're waiting, we're gonna try and get this going, because way to the south, the yellow marker you see on the bottom of the mini-map, that's way far south of us. I believe, I'm pretty sure they want a tin bronze pickaxe. I'm not 100%. It could have been tin bronze axe or tin bronze other tool. But I'm going to make a tin bronze pickaxe, because worst case, if it's not a tin bronze pickaxe, I'll more than likely have enough tin bronze by the time we find this to make another tool. And so, it's not like I can't use, you know, another weapon. Alright. Because I figured my options were, for things to work on, is I could work on the sturdy leather. That's one. Fair enough. I could work on the story, which is what we're potentially messing with right now. Or the last thing I could work on... Oh, what are you over there? Do I know of a trade person that far over? Huh. It's fine. That distracted me, my apologies. Yeah, okay, so let me rethink. Right, so I could work on the story. I could work on the sturdy leather. Both solid choices. The farm is going fine. I'm honestly not too fussed about the animals anymore. It feels like that's another thing that just kind of keep me latched at home. And there was something else. There's something else out and about that I was thinking about pursuing, and I can't remember what the heck it was. I had it just a second ago, and now it's gone. And it wasn't something, you know, just laborious, like continuing to build our road or whatever. That's certainly something, but I don't really need it at this stage. We're kind of pretty late game. Oh, or dig up a ruin. That was the last one. Or go to one of the ruins and dig that up. Because I suspected the ruins could potentially be, you know, hiding things, blocking things, whatever you want to say. Before I go dragging myself up this mountain... Okay, so it's on the other side. Let's just go around it versus trying to go over it. Because honestly, either going straight through it, like just literally tunneling through it, is probably going to be less of a pain than going the other way. And going around, it'll probably be easier than trying to, like, scale it. And the reason we were potentially considering gold or silver is if I went after the gold or silver, then I could take my lamps and I could upgrade them. Now, a spot here, I don't remember what it was we came over here for, but there's a ton of different ores down below us. It's a place I kept coming back to again and again. What was down here? Yeah, it was zinc. Yeah, so I had to keep coming back here to keep seeking out more and more zinc. Oh, hi, Resin. Don't mind if I do. Yeah, so just going around the mountain this way instead of having to climb over is way less of a pain. Gonna get closer to the coast and just kind of follow the coast down. Oh yeah, I did find a whole lot of those berry bushes. And I was like, you know what, I'll plant those later. So if we do get stuck where I want to, like, stay home for a while, like I'm waiting for some process to get done, you know, like I'm smelting ore, we can get those, you know, berry bushes planted. Because granted, I think it's going to be in, like, 5 in-game days. We're probably looking at our last berry harvest for the season. Because it does seem to take them, like, 2 in-game weeks or so, maybe a little longer, between each harvest. So we assume it's something like 15, 16 days. And each month is like 9 days. We're just about to finish July. So it'll be something like mid-August, like early to mid-August, that we actually get the next harvest of berries in. And then I don't know exactly when the cutoff for winter is, but I would imagine we're probably looking at, by that point, you know, October, November being when we get the next batch of berries and all that. And since it's winter at that, like late fall, winter, we probably won't get them. There's a good chance we're going to have to drop some of these, by the way. This actually works that... Oh, that's a survival goods trader. Alright. I was going to say, it actually works out that the treasure hunter's right there. The treasure hunter's not right there. One of these days I'll actually bring gears to one of these places. Because I did see that they had the one trader had stuff that permanently increased the fertility of your soil. But I don't have good soil, and I don't want to waste that on anything short of really, really good soil. I also kind of feel like if I were to start a fresh world, I might genuinely tone down how high the, like, not how, like, the maximum height, but, like, the spikiness of the elevation. Kind of flatten a little bit. Not a lot, just 10-20%. Because some of these, like, sheer, like, it's not bad having a sheer cliff, but it's when you have these ripples like this, where it's just, like, sheer cliffs the whole way down. You kind of have to just walk around. That's fine. But it kind of just sucks going around them. I mean, I guess the answer is you take the time to fix it. Does he know about them? The teleporters? I'm aware of the teleporters. I've seen them mentioned a number of times in the guidebook and all that. And that, you know, there were damaged ones and all that. So that's not a spoiler at all. And it was a pretty safe assumption that they were underground. Now, how you activate them and all that kind of stuff, that I don't know. Like, it might just be as easy as I walk up and boom, you're good. Alright, so this is where we dug down. So we could start here by just tapping on that and see if we get lucky and it says there's some right here, because that would be great. There is not. Alright, so we want to look for cassiterite. So we have cassiterite can show up in andesite, granite, basalt, peridotite, phyllite, and slate. We are in andesite immediately, so we are already in the sweet spot we can find it. So let's see. How do I want to approach this? I'm also going to go all the way to this end. Well, it can show up in there. All right. So we're going to start this by dig down. Let's get into the andesite where we've got like a good 6 tiles above me. Let's aim for somewhere in the ballpark of like 0 or -1 depth. That way, if I start mining to the sides, we got something. That way I'm kind of checking 6 up, 6 down. So I've got like a path that we're checking that's like 12 tall. Okay, so let's go bang on this. Nothing nearby. Nowhere nearby. All right. So what we'll probably do is I'm going to go about half the minimap south of here in the direction like we are. I'll do another survey, and if we see that the amount of ore continues to like drop off the chance of getting the cast rate, then we turn back, we turn 90 degrees, we repeat the process. So I'm going to do like we kind of did. All right, so I found bismuthite. So the other way of getting bronze, which I already have. The thing is, I'm not looking for bronze. The trader specifically wanted tin bronze. So I have to make that specific type of bronze. So where I'm making bismuthian bronze, that's not exactly what they're looking for. Alright, yeah, so we'll get to the end of this one. And we'll do the survey. And see if the amount goes down here. Compared to up there, where it'll still be like ultra high or dropping off. And like I said, if it goes down, we backtrack. If not, we keep going. Okay, so we got this spot. So what I'm going to do is go 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Switch to the survey mode. So we still have ultra high, but how does that compare to what we saw before? So you're at ultra high 2.3, 2.7. So it has gone down. That said, while we're standing here, I'll just try slapping those extremities. No ore nearby. And no ore nearby. So let's backtrack. We get turn 90 degrees. And check over here. All right. It's pretty much what we've done is we found that this area has a very high chance of having it in the area, but we haven't actually located it. So we could just be running around not finding a whole lot of luck or whatever, but that's fine. It's something we're doing to kill time while our steel's processing. You never know when we might find something else exciting. It's also one of the things I've definitely found playing Vintage Story. You tend to make the... Okay, so if we're hitting that, I'm pretty sure we cannot find this in bauxite, so that's officially a bust. Let's make sure it's not like one little vein. I am going to go ahead and do the same thing here. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. They'll do the surveying thing again. Because if we do see that it's higher over here, it means we got to go deeper. 2, 8. I think that might actually be higher. Yeah, so it is actually higher down this direction. So what we're going to do, we're going to dig a little deeper, figure out who we are. Alright. And thank you, Randall Thor, for the 5 gifty subs. I really do appreciate that. It means a heck of a lot, so thank you so much for that. Okay, so we're at -8. Let's go to -14 here. Thank you for the gifty subs. I really do appreciate that support. We found zinc. I wasn't looking for zinc, but we found zinc. Okay. But thanks so much for that support. It means a heck of a lot. I really do appreciate it. And I do hope you are enjoying your stream and all that good stuff. And I do hope everyone enjoys their advertisement-free viewing as well as access to the emotes. Oh, wait, you need to switch that. Alright. So we found trace amounts of zinc. So the good news, well, good bad news, is there isn't a lot of zinc we're seeing right here. And it's good bad news because, like, obviously zinc is good. It's hard to find. But not really what I'm looking for. Let's see if it still says trace amounts. I'm willing to bet there's a chunk of zinc here or there. Nowhere nearby, so we got all the zinc.
Hype train is go. Choo choo.
And thank you, Jaywalker, for the 200 biddies. I really do appreciate it. It means a heck of a lot, so thank you so much for those biddies. I do hope you've been enjoying the stream as well, and thank you so much for that support. Oh, we can also go on the map, and where it says I found the zinc, we can delete that, because we took it all. Okay, so let's start exploring around here. No ore nearby.
Choo choo.
And thank you, Randall, for the 200 biddies. I appreciate that as well. Means a heck of a lot that everyone support me that way. Kicking off a hype train and all that. I do really appreciate that, all that support. So thank you so much for all that. Getting us to level 2 already means a whole heck of a lot. Couldn't do this without the support people show, so thank you so much for that support. Alright, so let's see if we can't happen to get lucky. And thank you, Such a Cookie, for the 100 biddies, and it also sounds like one of my alerts is still broken. I'll need to fix that. Because I had all my alerts get broken yesterday, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Is a whole thing. And I believe I got almost all of it fixed, but I guess there's one I missed. It's supposed to go, yay, when people do that. And thank you, Pretty Big Oof, for the tier 1 sub gift to the channel. So, I really do appreciate that support as well. You're all being incredibly generous, and that means a whole heck of a lot, so thank you so much for that. Alright, so I'm gonna go over here. Same thing as we've been doing. I'm gonna survey this way. We're gonna see if we see any ore. We do not. Let's switch back to survey. I'm gonna turn this way. 1, 2, 3. And 1, 2, 3. We're gonna see if the quantity of ore or the sapphirite, cassiterite goes down. That's definitely down. Yeah, so that is lower than there. All right, so it looks like you got the spot because if we look at this, all three of those pins are lower, which means obviously going up isn't going to be any better. But let's go over here to where it's kind of at its highest. And you're not going to go far. But I go this way. And I'm going to kind of make the idea of like a little spiral thing where we go down like 12 blocks. And I'm going to go and kind of do an outshoot in every direction. Every 12 blocks. Just to kind of... Oh, wait, not that. There. Just to kind of just... Oh, I should be... 1 second. Okay, no ore there. Let's go back down over here. Let's check the left and right. Just in case. You never know when you're going to be like, oh, right here there's gold. Oh, right here there's whatever. Nothing. And more bismuthite. So that's 2 areas of bismuthite we found right there. Get our soup. Inventory's getting full. Yeah, so then that would go down. We'll dig that to the end. All right. Nothing this way. Okay, so before we get too roped into this, I'm going to try and dig to putting us, like, right on that pin. And then, like I said, we're going to just kind of spiral down. And just see if we get lucky. Okay. I'm going to make an opening here that's going to be where our staircase is going to be. Just so it's easy to spot. Kind of know where I'm backtracking to and from. Alright, so with that, I'm going to do an offshoot in each direction. And then, like I said, we'll go down 12 blocks and we'll do it again. If we do it this way, I can kind of explore the entire surrounding space. Oh, I got excited. That was not... It's not what I'm looking for, though. What was... Your lead, right? Zinc. And thank you so much for the tier 3 hype train at 5%. with 6 gifty sub and 500 biddies. That's incredibly generous, and I really do appreciate that support. Like I said, could not do that without the support you all showed me, so thank you so much for that. It's incredibly generous, and it really does mean a lot that you make this all possible. Like that, without that support, you know, I just wouldn't be able to do this as much as I'd like to. All right. Okay. I believe we were at minus 14. We can go to minus 26. And then it's time for the next set of offshoots. Okay. I'm not going to make it perfect. I'm going to do one over in the other wall and one over in this wall the same way. Gotta go from the corners. No ore nearby. Fair enough. Okay. I got the zinc again. I'm gonna go from this corner. We signed up, well, you signed up for March now, so you have to put up for another 6 months. Yeah, it happens. Do really appreciate it. And I appreciate everyone who's been doing, like, the signing up well in advance. I know I don't always catch that. It's just sometimes the way the verbiage is presented on my end from Twitch, I have to stop and be like, oh wait, that's an advance one. But, like, you know, getting the discounts in September and all that to do all that, like, it's, you know, it's one thing to be like, oh, hey, here's a month. But people are like, yeah, no, I'm definitely going to be, oh, we got Cassiterite. It's pay dirt time. But it's definitely another thing when people are like, yeah, no, I'm enjoying this, I'm definitely going to still be here. So we're also dealing with, bismuthite right here. Which, again, is not what I'm here for. Alright, hang on. So we're gonna shuffle things a little bit. I'm gonna take this dirt. I'm gonna shove it right in here. Now it's not a me problem. I really don't need more of this. Okay, so I believe that was the spot that we got trace amounts of the tin showing up. Yeah, so we got small amounts of that, trace amounts of this. So let's try doing this. I'm gonna dig all the way this way, and I'm gonna hit on that far end and see what it says. We're just trying to figure out what direction I should be going to find the tin. Would you kindly piss off? Alright, so what we could do here real fast to deal with them is put in the kitty door. There we go. But the Twitch won't let you give the sub discount if you're continuing your sub. You canceled all your sub this month so you can get it. Yeah, no, it's a little disappointing they do it that way. Alright, so this is the way. Because that's got medium amounts. So same deal. I work my way up here. And now we mine this way. And I go one more. And we see what it says. large amounts, so we keep going this way. So, needless to say, it's above or below us, or directly next to us. What I'm trying to do, though, is I'm going to keep digging this way until it stops going up in the amount it's saying. Because that means I've kind of gotten to, like, the other side of the vein. And then we backtrack, we turn 90 degrees, we turn 90 degrees, same deal. Figure out kind of the center one. Yeah, so that is dropped by a bunch. So this is where we'll turn here. And we're just trying to triangulate where this is. But there's a good chance it's above or below us. Alright, got large amounts that way. I'm gonna check something. I'm willing to bet this will tell us less this way. Because the veins in this game are big, but still. Yeah, trace amounts. Alright. Okay. So right here is where we saw the large amounts. So that tells me it's either up or down. No ore at all found nearby up. So by process of elimination, it's below us. And it should be within 6 tiles. Okay, so let's hit this one. That could be ever so slightly to the right or left. Medium. Huh. And you were at large amounts? Yeah, large amounts. Okay. So your large amounts here. And you weren't up. So I probably just need to let's scooch back here. With large amounts is not a small thing. So that's medium over there. Did I goof reading something? Large amounts here. Because I don't think the large and medium amounts is relative to the size of things. Yeah, and when we went over here, I think we were already at the point where it's telling us it was medium again. Did I misread this one, maybe? Alright, so you're still large amounts here. Yeah, so you're getting large amounts. Where does the large amounts end on this side? That was not what I needed to do. So it should still say large amounts. Medium. So we're only seeing large amounts in this little gap here. Now it can't be that way, because we'd still see large amounts that way. So somewhere either like directly above or below here. Like just in this little pocket here. let's check up there. No ore at all nearby, so it's got to be below us. Okay, let's check here. Okay, so we're still seeing large. That's good news. That's what we want to see. Ah, there we go. We found the tin. Okay. That said, my inventory is super duper full, so I don't want to deal with all this material. What we're going to do is we're going to go and do the thing of just drop that all there. Drop this all here. Go ahead and drop these here. Can I stack a pile on top of a pile? Cannot. That's fine. Just dropping a bunch of ore wherever I can fit it. Not ore, dropping a bunch of brick. Because I've got literal crates of this back at the house. I do not need more of it. I'm just going to heap this up anywhere I can shove it for right now. And plus, it'll kind of tell me where not to go looking for the ore, because there'll be heaps of stone in the way. Cool. So with that, we can grab all this, easily giving us another stack or 2 or 3, maybe even 4. But clearing up enough inventory so I can get down here. Okay, so that's my way up. Alright, so this is what we're here for. We're here for the tin. Get to mining it. Okay, don't need that spot. Now, I don't know how much we're going to find here, but this should be more than enough to make that tin pickaxe or whatever it was that the thing we need to find the next story thing is. To get exactly what we need. Alright. Now, I'm expecting this vein to not be nearly as big as some of the other veins. If it's the equivalent of zinc, for example, where I've been able to find ridiculous amounts of, like, iron and copper and that. Zinc, I was not able to find particularly big veins. So I'm not expecting the tin to be all that big a vein either. That said, I certainly wouldn't complain. That said, I really don't need that much tin. At least I don't think I need that much tin. But we'll see. I'm down to grab what I can carry and bring it back. Make it a one and done and not have to come back down here again. I kind of like when I can go to an area, hit a vein, properly clear out the vein where it's not showing any ore, and just delete the icon off the map being like, yeah, I got it. Don't bother continuing to search here. Okay, so you're good. Let's not mind that last square yet. Yeah, no, absolutely. It is one of those things that I mentioned a couple times. I'm very curious how good the durability is going to be on the steel tools. I'm really hoping it's very significant upgrade from iron to justify the effort. Well, crap. It's fine. I'll make it work somehow. Okay, so what we can do here real fast is, let's just do a little check. Do I detect tin on this side? I detect trace amounts. Do I detect tin on this side? I do not. Do I detect tin on this side? Trace amounts. Do I detect this side? I'm guessing it might be a tile on, like, right above me, right below me. Yeah, so it's probably one right above or below. Let's check these corners. Make sure it's not one of those things where it's just out of view. Because it's 6 tiles, so it's not a huge amount of range. I've had a number of times the ore will appear like just barely past where I was. And that side didn't detect anything. We'll check above real fast, because I'll just make a tunnel out of here. Okay, let's mine that one up there. Okay, so I got trace amounts up. Still trace amounts down. Which again, that means it's within 6 tiles of where we're doing that. I shouldn't really be chasing trace amounts. That's probably just 1 or 2 blocks. But, you know. It actually makes sense more. Keep mining around here just a little wider. Hey, Radaman! Thank you so much for the raid. I do hope you had a great rest of your stream. Was hanging out there earlier for your RimWorld, living up on the asteroid and all that good stuff. But welcome in, raiders. I do hope you had yourselves a good day and all that. Trying to find some tin ore? Yes, I actually found a decent amount. There's just like a little bit more here. There it is. So now let's see if it says there's any more. And thank you for the follow. Welcome to the stream. Let's check and see if we have any more. So there's still trace amounts. So let's continue with the theory of it being above us then. Because that's where the what? Yeah, there we go. Let's just check over here in this corner. Alright. But yeah, so welcome in, Raiders. But yeah, for those who don't know Radamat, if we can get... Yeah, we already got the shout out. But Radamat's absolutely a fantastic content creator. I highly, highly, highly recommend checking out. Plays a whole lot of games similar to what we do. Has played like RimWorld, Auction Not Included, Going Medieval, I believe. Has played Bannerlord, a whole bunch of games that we've shared. So definitely someone to check out. Yeah, I think we fully tapped this thing. I think the tin here is done. Now, to figure out getting out of here. Let's drop all you off. So in the meanwhile, I can pick up all this again. Ow. Pick up this just to bring it back. Okay. To pick up a tiny bit more. And that'll be full inventory, so let's get out of here. Assuming I can remember my way out. Yeah, for those who don't know me, I am Rual Storge, play a variety of games here on Twitch. I most know from my exploits in Project Zomboid, where I used to hold a world record for the highest kill count run ever streamed. That said, you'll notice as a past tense, that record has been beaten, but I'm a variety creator. I do play a whole range of games. It's actually been a day that we bounce around between a whole lot of games. We were checking out a bunch of demos. We checked out the 1.0 release of Ale Abbey. Apparently, it's partied in the whole time. Okay. But, so it's been a day of, kind of like a demo day, just hopping between a whole bunch of stuff. But, we're super duper late in Vintage Story. We've got steel production online. We are literally making steel right now. And there is a story to the game that I've utterly ignored. And we did kind of oh, 1 second. We did kind of happen across the first part of it. So what I am doing is I'm kind of working on that. You said you missed Whiskerword. How did you find it? I found it pretty fun. It's got some pretty rough balance situation going on, but it is a very early version demo, so that's not exactly a shocker. It does have the potential to be something along the lines of Timberborn, except where, you know, Timberborn, you have to, like, manage water and all that, versus Whiskerwood is far more... If you kind of think of, like, colonial era where you've got, you know... You've got the British Empire taking over a whole bunch of places, and like Portugal and Spain and France and all that. It's kind of like you're one of those, except instead of like the British and their subjects, it is you are mice and there's cats. And well, that dynamic is a little less friendly. But yeah, so the entire game loop is you're setting up your colony while you're getting like more and more oppressive tax rates and all that put on you, and demands that are, you know, more and more unreasonable, and the goal is to survive it. Or like if you want another game that kind of has that dynamic, it'd be Tropico, but leaning a lot harder on the crown, just putting the screws to you. And then, you know, adorable mice that it does very much give you a Timberborn vibe, while beyond being a city builder, they really kind of diverge past that point. Like they're very like the thing that makes you think Timberborn is it does have kind of the voxel terrain where it's blocks that, you know, you can move the dirt around or manipulate that kind of thing. That's the part that makes it feel very, very Timberborn. Or like going medieval, where you can like dig up the ground and all that. It's just being cute little mice makes you feel Timberborn a lot more than going medieval. Sounds like a good old colonization of Civ 1-2 era remade in 4. Yeah. Yeah, just like, it'll be the thing, it's like, okay, so this month, your taxes... Yeah, those are going to be like 200 gold, and you're going, I have 60, how am I going to make this work? Okay, well, you've got the next one, it's going to be 400 gold, and for the record, you don't actually give them gold, you give them trade goods that have that value in gold. So it is really kind of, like, I'm being exploited. Like, not even a little, I am being... very hostily exploited. And there's pirates will roll up and they'll give demands, and if you say no, they smash a bunch of your buildings before they leave. That's fine. You do like that you can choose the goods to give them. That's a neat approach. Oh yeah, so you have like an abundance. I also appreciate that like goods that are easy to get a hold of, it's not that they're not worth much, they literally have no value. You go up and you'll be like, hey man, how would you like a stack of logs? And they're like, nah man, you're gonna have to do better than that. Give us the copper ore. Alright, so we're just dealing with some mild starvation. I'll go ahead and eat the black currant. I was gonna save it for making more wine, but honestly I really don't need to. I'm getting to that point where my storage is getting completely full with wine and all sorts of goodies. But yeah, so this should let me make the tin bronze pickaxe, which I believe is all I need to get like the next part of the whole story thing going. I don't know how much I'm going to put in the story's effort, but since we're making the steel, and a lot of steel is hurry up and wait, it's something to do during that wait part. You can update the objective now? You are correct. So let's go ahead and do that. So objective text. Make tin bronze pickaxe. And I don't 100% remember if it is a tin bronze pickaxe or a different pickaxe. But if I make a tin bronze pickaxe and it's wrong, that's fine, because then I have a tin bronze pickaxe, and that's still pretty good. That's still a useful thing to have. Because it's one tier less than the best I can make right now till that steel's done. So it's great for just filler for breaking a whole bunch of bricks. Okay, so I can see my house from here, out there in the distance. It's so nice to have this lamp where it doesn't go out in the water versus the torches. For those who are unfamiliar with this game, Vintage Story, once upon a time way back, this used to be a Minecraft mod, but then, according to the developer, was basically like, hey, there's stuff I want to do, and I'm kind of having difficulty modding it into Minecraft. The engine's holding me back. And I don't know how much of that is true or how much of that is just figuring out how to circumvent it, or there is times that you can make it work, but there's performance implications because mods are effectively bolted on top of whatever came before them. And so they kind of split off and making that all work. And so the way I've been describing it is, imagine Minecraft, but it's sweaty and try-hard. That the food in the game is actually genuinely surviving as a whole thing. Like, you can freeze to death, you have to worry about, you know, actually getting your food, and you can't just, you know, slap some seeds in the ground and thumbs up, you're good to go. There's seasons in the game and stuff won't last. And if you can't really see it super well, but up there in the middle, you'll notice it says nutrient levels, N, P, and K, which is nitrogen, potassium, and phosphate. That's actual plants, what their fertilizers require. Now granted, the good news is it's not as complicated in real life where, you know, plant A, you can't have too much potassium or it doesn't grow, but you need to have a whole lot of nitrogen. Like, you don't have to do the balance kind of garbage, but it will be like, hey, this plant uses a lot of nitrogen, so you need to make sure your soil has a lot of nitrogen or it won't grow very fast. And so you do have a certain extent of managing your soil and all that, which it's mostly just you do a crop rotation. That you grow something that uses a lot of nitrogen, and after that, you grow something that doesn't need a lot of nitrogen. And crap, I need yet another crate. I'm just gonna grab one of these crates that we're not using. I'm gonna chuck it up there and put even more. I need to stop, because what I was doing with all the extra block I was getting before is I was making walkways. And we've been making these big highways everywhere, and they've been great. But since I've been starting to get towards, like, the end game kind of stuff, I've been trying to focus on that and utterly ignoring the others. Yeah, so we got some zinc, we got some tin, and we got some bismuthite. I want to break all that up. At some point, I should get all the berry bushes made. We'll deal with that in a minute. I got some bauxite. I like bauxite. We got some resin. Resin's nice. We got some sticks. Can never have too many of those. Alright. While I'm standing right here, do I have a barrel that's ready for... so let's see. Wine. Wine. red currant juice, black currant juice, blueberry juice, and white currant juice. So I don't have another spot for cranberry juice right now. So I'm going to just say, you know what? I'll put this here. Maybe, maybe not it gets used. Maybe, maybe not it rots. And we're going to go ahead and celebrate by just drinking a little bit more wine because I've got too much of it. It's good problems to have. So we celebrate the success of our recovery of tin with a couple sippy sips. Let's go down here and prepare for our next meal. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 turnips, 6 carrots, 6 onions, and 6 parsnip. All right. What does thine do except for making you drunk? It gives you calories. It's not good food so far as the calories, but it does last for pretty close to ever. It's like 4 something years or something like that. Okay, so you can drop this in here. Alright, so we'll need to grab this hammer and get our ore out of the chunks. Okay, so we've got our bismuthite. I don't need that right now. We've got our tin. We've got our zinc. Now, I don't actually need that much tin and zinc because it's an alloy that we're going to be making. So I need a little bit of a couple different things. Let's chuck that all in there. Yeah, so there's the tin down there. And I believe for what I want, I need copper. And it looks like I am fresh out of copper down here, which is not my favorite. But we'll deal with that in a minute. Oh, we also... This is good. Got ourselves some more bricks, so as these wear out, we can do those. Gonna shake all of you. There's unfired. We have raw brick there. Did I not have a bunch of the... I thought... Oh, yeah, there we go. Okay. Alright. I needed to do the raw clay brick, and that's the reason I was concerned, is like, wait, I already know I need to do these. Why can I not? Alright, so let's go and grab all of these. So I can't stack more of these, I don't think. Yeah, I can't mix and match. Cool. Let's see. So, how many am I short? 8. Let's go and split the stacks here. I might as well do a full load if I'm going to do a load. Alright, so before I get caught up into that too much, let's get our soup being made before we start starving to death. So you go here, shift you over, toss all that in there. I'll need some firewood. And light that up so our soup is being made. Okay, because I need the fire brick here to continue to make my iron blooms. Because I got to make bloomeries, and bloomeries, unfortunately, every single time you finish them, you got to smash them to get the stuff out, which means building new ones. Now, the good news is you keep most of the material when you smash them. It's not like you smash and you lose everything. But it does add up. Alright, come on, have just enough grass to do this. Yeah, we had just enough grass to do it. So I can drop you off, grab the sticks. Because these are pit kilns. So basically I put a bunch of raw clay stuff down there. because it's no use to me as raw clay. And so what we could do from here... Didn't I mine a ridiculous amount of peat up? Yes, I did. What we do here is we stack a whole bunch of flammable materials around it. It's nice and kind of mushed in there between a bunch of very insulated rock. Or you can use dirt, basically something that retains the heat. And then it just burns off all of that over the course of like an in-game day. You just kind of let it burn and smolder down there, which fires the clay and then makes the clay hardened. And they could use it for other stuff. And you get the idea. We got all that going. No, don't hold that in your hand anymore. You don't need to. Alright. So I've got that going. How's our dinner doing? Dinner about ready? Yeah, dinner's ready. Complete one. Get another serving. Eat another serving. Get another serving, and we're good. Because I made 6 servings, we ate 2 to get our food topped off, and I got 4 more on me. So now let's take a peek at our steel production. Because that needs to be going for, I believe it's at about an in-game week. I wish you had it where you could get to that easier. It's not letting me do that because I can't actually see where it needs to go. And I can't step in there because that room right there, that's what you call a bad time. Alright. They still got 2 coal. Yeah, so I can't get higher. If I chipped away that one little spot there... The problem is when I crouch, which is what you have to do to put it down, I can't do that. You know what I might even do? Settings, controls. Where the heck is the crouch button? So sneak. Okay, what does C do that they're not? C is for character. I mean, I'm sure if I change off crouch, it'll be the same thing. All right, let's go in here. We're going to knock out just a tiny little bit more of that little retaining wall, and hopefully I can get an angle on it. So I'll grab that, put the hammer in my hand. I'm going to chip this wall just a little bit more. Did you literally run out while I was doing this? You did. Okay, never mind. It's still acting up. Okay, so we're gonna go right here. Would you leave me alone? I'm working. Maybe make a half block. I'm kind of banging my head in the roof, so I'm kind of figuring... I can't really take it farther than that. Okay, so we've got this, so I need to refire it. Before I do, is it still going to mark this place as super hot? No. I mean, the box is still glowing. 28% complete. Okay. Let's light it back up. So we're 1/4 done. Well, actually, almost 1/3 done. With the process of converting the iron into steel. Needless to say, it ain't a fast process. Alright, so you got about 3 days left more on the berries. Some of them are starting to ripen. I'm going to leave them on there till they're all ready, so I just do one big round. Let's go and put the chisel and the hammer back in the wall. If you didn't see, this game has like a whole bunch of automation stuff. So I've got like my windmills going up here, and that turns the gear, which is powering a bunch of different machines down here. So it's kind of cool. They don't have like the full redstone kind of nonsense you could do in Minecraft, but they got their equivalent, which is that. Now, it's nowhere near as elaborate or as in-depth as like redstone, the nonsense you get. Like, you can't make a full-on computer or anything in this. They don't have like the logic on-off, that kind of thing, at least not that I've seen. Okay, so all that's still growing. Let's get out here. Parsnips are done. Carrots are close. Those parsnips are close. Yeah, and I don't think we're planting much more outside here. I think we're going to use the greenhouse from this stage on, because I'm a little worried if I keep trying to use that area out there, we'll get caught out. I'm not super worried about it, but that's fine. Okay, so let's put away the parsnips. So have those for later. Alright, so the unfortunate thing we're running into is the fact that while I did find the tin, I don't have enough copper to go with it. So I gotta go grab some copper. That shouldn't be too bad, but I am going to need a new pickaxe. So I could do here. I'm going to actually grab 2 of the iron ingots. Grab some charcoal. Drop it in there. Set it up. Put you away. I need the tongs so I don't burn myself, and the hammer. That'll take a minute to heat up. I'm going to go ahead and grab 2 sticks real fast. I'll need to grab those in a moment. Okay. But that should get hot enough that I can use the anvil here to process the iron ingots here into... Ow! I'm pretty sure I just got struck by lightning. Look, man, if I want to stand in a lightning storm with something metal in my hand, let me live my life. I'm honestly surprised that it didn't do more damage. I genuinely figure being struck by lightning would be a near instant kill. Oh, that's not hot enough. I mean, it probably is, but I'm going to go ahead and drop another one in. It's cooling off way too fast. If it gets below 741, I can't work on it. Yep, so we got our pickaxe. Okay. So that way I got replacement pickaxes before we go out for the copper, because the one I have been using is pretty much done. Put you back. Put you back. So we can grab those. Ow. I didn't think that through. Let's grab the tongs back. Something about carrying something that's like 800 degrees Celsius and trying to work with it that my character doesn't like. I can't imagine what it's about. You're Not My Mom, You're a Weather Pattern. That is a great title. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, so I had a copper area over here we mined. We completely depleted that. So let's go... First of all, we can go ahead and remove this pin here. I've got a pin up here to the northwest. No, northeast. That we found copper on the surface, so I should just have to dig down and we'll find copper. Might take me a minute, but we can pull up a bunch of copper, and that should give me what I need to make the tin bronze pickaxe that we need to proceed to story things while our steel continues to get knocked out. It won't be too much longer before we need to repair my armor or replace it. Yeah, so it's one of these little islands up here. I found some copper. And if you find copper on the surface, or lead or coal or whatever, it means there's a vein down below. So yeah, so I found copper here. So we're going to dig down on this little tiny island. And see if we can't locate it. I'm going to try to be careful and not submerge myself in water. Do you use rope ladders? Not really. Not like I'm actively trying to avoid them or anything. I just haven't ended up using them that much. Okay, so medium amounts of native copper right on the get-go. So literally it means I'm going to be digging down like 2-3 blocks and we're going to hit it. There it is. Now I just want to get to a point where I can drop in. There we go. We'll work on this. Just grab what copper we can. I really wish when you picked up ore and stone, it would prioritize putting it in the bag that very specifically and exclusively can carry ore and stone. That'd be pretty nice. Yeah, so it's not looking like it's going to be a particularly large copper vein, but I also don't need a particularly large copper vein. Let's see, if you make a mining bag, the first bag, it will put it there first, if the belt is not free, though. Right, and that's what it's saying is, I think, personally, if you have a bag that's like, hey, I am a bag that can only accept, like, mining equipment, you know, the mining equipment should prioritize that one. Or if you have a bag that's like, hey, I can only accept, like, animal bits or farming stuff, you know, it should always prioritize that. Okay. And we're not seeing any more this way, not seeing anything on the ceiling. Okay, so I can mine this. If I mine any farther to the right, though, we'll have issues with that. Okay. Cool. So everything at this level and above seems to be cleared. And And I'm digging the whole way around it, just in the off chance. Yeah, like we had multiple spots there where we can see that it's deeper. I just kind of found it's worth considering what could be diagonal of it. It's worth digging the extra tiles around things. Get that extra chunk of ore. Yeah, and also, sadly, this is poor quality copper, so I won't get as much copper out of it. Alright. We had a bunch more copper, but when we started setting up the automation, a lot of the chutes and all that can only be made out of copper. So yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and pick up the last of this spot. Alright. So let's tap here and see if it says it finds any more copper. No ore nearby. And we'll check over here. No ore nearby. Check over there. And I would say that's tapped. So let's go here, remove these markers off the map since we got the ore. I am going to go ahead while we're in this spot, though. I am going to do a survey since I haven't surveyed around here. You never know when I find a spot like this that we find copper or lead or whatever. And you do the survey and it's like, oh, by the way, there's gold there. Minuscule amounts of a bunch of stuff I'm not worried about. Okay. So with that, we have our copper. So let's run on home. This is not the way to home. Run on home. And with that, when I break those up, I'll have all I need to make the tin bronze pickaxe. It's been a while since I've used the molds. Well, no, we'll use the ingots. That way, if I'm wrong, because I can't remember with absolute confidence if they wanted a tin bronze pickaxe or a tin bronze axe. But I'm figuring if I get at least like 4 or 5 ingots out of it, if I'm wrong, I just come back and we make the other thing. I still need to put a roof on need to put a roof on the place that's become my windmill blacksmithy, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I gotta wait till it's lower to be able to drop those on there. I kinda wish that you could get a better angle on it to be able to work on that. Okay, so put you away. Grab the hammer. So we're getting pretty close to the point I'm gonna need to make a new hammer. Okay. So let's drop off... Is that chert? Yeah, that's chert. I think I got a box for chert. Yeah. Drop off the chert. Drop off our dirt blocks. And let's figure out what I need to do to make this alloy happen. Okay, so the things I need is the cassiterite and that. So we check the cassiterite. The cassiterite is only used for making silver solder, which is only used for What are you used for? Doesn't... It doesn't seem to have a use. It's probably used by something, so it doesn't show that there. Okay. Tin bronze bits and lead solder. Yeah, and that's the thing. Oh, lead or solder bar. And then use the lead solder bars for boilers and condensers. Oh, for distillery. Okay, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, no, I was reading it as ingredient 4, and my brain was making it think like a spearhead. I'm like, wow, a solder spearhead sounds terrible. Okay, so it's looking like this needs to be 92%, so 88 to 92% copper, and about 8%. Yeah, so it would end up needing to be about 1 out of 10 need to be that. So let's go over here and see how many... Yeah, that's what this thing is like, okay, well, the copper's hard to get hold of. So let's grab a crucible. I'm going to shove it here. And go like this. Actually, I'm going to do this the lazy way. Okay, so that'd be 700 units. And if I add the rest of this, that's 800 units. Which is perfect. Because that is exactly how many ingot molds I have down below. You weren't paying attention, you broke your wild beehive. Do you at least have any extra bees? Or any extra beehives? The good news is, while they're not super common, they're not super rare. I've been deliberately keeping one beehive there, and I deliberately didn't smash my my other one either. I've been going out of my way to keep multiple beehives around just in case. You don't own any ones yet? Aw, that sucks. Yeah. So I took more out of it and it went up. That's fine. Okay. So start by getting this going. Take a long time to get your starter bees. Grab you. Oh, is that just getting put out? Okay. I need to get the roof built over this. I don't want to have the stone block as a roof. I've just been putting it there because I haven't decided what material I want to actually make the roof out of. 2, 3, 4. And so I've been just shoving those over top to block the rain, because this area we're at almost always rains. Which is a good thing for my farming, because it means I don't have to water my plants, like, ever. There. So now we can light that again. Like this. Put you away. Put you in our hand. Grab the hammer. That's going to take a minute to actually heat up. But we're going to get the iron ingot. I'm going to make a iron hammer. Because the one I've got is starting to wear out. Are you an iron hammer? Yeah, starting to wear out. How are our blooms doing, or not blooms, how are our bricks doing? Alright, so I still got time left. Because once I have those, I can get more iron blooms being made so that, you know, I have like 3 of those, or 2 or 3 of those going along this wall. Okay, so that's going to take a little while. You're continuing to heat up. If you're wondering what the Helve Hammer here is for, when I do the iron blooms where it's just that chunk of iron that comes out with the slag on it, it'll smack it down into a ingot versus me having to waste multiple hammers on it. And also for iron plates, you can just put that on there and do that. Ages ago, remember trying to get bees and you had 4 hives staked out? They refused to swarm, winter hit, and you had to wait all spring. Yeah, no, I didn't have too much of a problem, but I also went, like, immediately, put flowers everywhere around it. So, iron hammerhead. Alright. Get your butt back here. You're gonna sit here and try and shoot through the hole in my roof because I don't bother to build my place. Well, I'm trying to casually blacksmith. That's a you problem, friend. Somebody just rolled poorly? Gotcha. Okay, so those are still heating up. Okay, you're fine. Alright. Let's grab a stick. That gives me a spare hammer. But here's just a patience thing. Yeah. Alright, so that's almost heated up to the point of making tin bronze. At which point, then I gotta take this, run it down to the molds. Ooh, let's be really fast. We can save a step here. So, where is my pickaxe mold? Pickaxe mold. I haven't used this in forever. There. Because then I can put one of them into the pickaxe mold directly, and I won't have to smith it or anything. We just skip that step. Factorio Forge stack versus pocket crafting. Let's see, still gonna look for another one. You don't really have much else to do while the animals grow up. Oh yeah, no, it's worth looking for them. Okay. Yeah, it's one of those things, I found, like, the beehives actually aren't that rare, like, really, they aren't, but it is one of those things that it's so hard to find them if you're not using any mods to help. You don't hear it, you got the buzzwords mod. Yeah, no, I didn't get the buzzwords mod, the one I, like, and this is after we found the bees in this run and everything, for my other offline playthrough, I actually got a mod that they just gave, like, a little bee graphic. You'd see, like, the little one, like, little bee go fight the flower and all that. They're still kind of hard to notice, but it's at least something that's a visual cue, as a purely audible cue, because it's one of those things that it can be so hard to hear, especially with streaming and everything where you got distractions. Like, the one we found in this one, I basically only found it because I happened to jump and ram my head directly next to the beehive, and I was like, oh, I hear bees! And we had just been discussing bees, too. Alright, so let's hurry, because I've got a super duper hot thing of molten copper. Or tin bronze. Right, not copper, tin bronze. For a moment I had like a momentary panic, it's like, wait, did I actually make the tin bronze? Or did I just, you know, dump copper? Which would be salvageable if I have enough copper to make like 9 ingots and then an ingot of the tin. Because then I could combine... Well, actually, no, I don't think I could combine those. No, if I did that, I'd screw it. Okay, cool. So with that, I've got everything I needed here. So I can go and drop you back down there. Put you back on the shelf here. Let's go check again to see if you need a top off. Yeah, unfortunately, like, I wish you could just be an angle, so even if it went down, there's only down one or two increments. You think it turned ingots into bits? Yeah, that's right, you can smash the ingots. Yeah, so it would be salvageable. Still, probably one of those things you don't want to deal with. Alright, so... we got all these. Those are going to take a minute to cool off. So we won't worry about that yet. You're not desperate for food yet. Okay. That's all fine. I don't really need to dig for more charcoal. Let's double check our plants, because some of those plants are getting pretty close to harvest again. Like I said, I'm willing to bet I probably can't get any more rounds of grain out in the year. It's only, like, I mean, yeah, it's basically beginning of fall. So I probably can't get any more rounds of grain that we haven't already planted. But I could probably get more, like, onions and stuff like that out of it. And that flax is right about to be done. Those carrots are about to be done. Yeah, so pretty soon we'll end up putting the door back on our greenhouse to turn it back into a greenhouse. Oh, and how are we doing on this, by the way? Ripe in about 2 days and about 7 days. Alright, we got our first, fruit trees things. Yeah, so we've got our pears and our apples need just a little bit longer. But we did get some cherries. Yeah, so here's my bees I got going on. I haven't been harvesting all the hives. I've been pretty lazy about it. Kind of just as needed. So these last for 2 so the cherries only last for 2 days without doing anything else to them. Needless to say, that is not nearly long enough. And that's honestly probably reasonably estimated for picked cherries. In real life, picked cherries tend to have an extremely short shelf life. They rot very easy. So yeah, so that's only going to be 8 days. And we're not going to get any more of those. It does become a pretty significant amount of juice, though. And I do have a barrel for it. And I do know with a certain level of confidence that that is going to be it for the amount of, that we get this season. Oh, you're still sitting on 7 liters of cranberry juice. That's not part of the plan. I don't have any of these containers free for cranberry juice. I've got almost all the other things, but not cranberries. I'm going to put the cranberry juice down on the floor again. I got another bucket up here. You know what? We'll change the approach. Drink it? Nah, I'm not going to drink all of it. I'll drink it eventually. So I got a barrel up here for other purposes. Let's go over here and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Because what I'm thinking, I could probably fit barrels in that middle row there. They probably will work. So I can go down here. Drop off the cranberry juice. And we're going to juice our cherries. And the cherries, even though it won't be nearly a full barrel, it's all the cherries we're getting this year. So we're just going to go ahead and turn into cherry wine. And we just won't have a whole lot of cherry wine. Okay. Yeah, so it looks like we're gonna get pretty close to about like 20 liters or whatever. 18 liters, something like that. Yeah, 18 point whatever liters. So we are going to take the cherry wine. We are going to seal that. So, or cherry juice and make it into wine. Just because that's all the cherries we're getting this season. There's no point in me holding out on it. Alright. So you're hardened. And I can hold it. I wasn't sure at like 100 degrees Celsius or 160 degrees Celsius if my character would be allowed to hold it. So, tin bronze pick. Can you explain or expand the basement? This one, not really. Because for it to count as a cellar, it must be 7 by 7 by 7 or smaller. And so this is 7 by 7. And when we're considering the up, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. And so I could technically go up or down, except I got a hollow spot below. And so I could potentially put like a layer. We talked about, yeah, as Sindelash is saying, I've talked about before coming up with some type of block to put on the walls here, to then put another row of stuff on top of it. And it's certainly worth exploring. The barrels, that would kind of suck just because with the barrels, you can't see in and like, are they done? What's going on? That kind of thing. But all of these things, there's no real reason for me not to do it. I've been putting it off. Okay, so this is good news. Grab all these. Because now what I could do is grab you, 2 and 3. And 4. And 4. Alright. So we'll want 1, 2, 3, 4 stacks of the iron. Let's get our bloomeries going. We're gonna fill all of these up. So we can get, I think it's like 5 or 6 ingots out of each of them of iron. Well, blooms out of iron. So yeah, so these are bloomeries. This is how you make iron. So most of like the simpler metals, like your coppers, bronze, all those, is basically put in a crucible, make it hot, you're good to go. Iron's a bit more involved. We have to build a bloomery out of that material. And then after we do that, I have to go and put, you know, a bunch of material in there, a bunch of charcoal in there. It has to cook for basically like half a day. And then when that happens, I actually have to break the bloomery, like just smash the whole thing, to get the material out of it. And the good news is you get most of the bloomery back. Like if it takes, I can't remember how many blocks it is, it's something like 14 blocks, you'll get something like 12 back. It's not too bad. Alright, so we got all those going. Check down here now. Honestly, I could see potentially putting a window on both sides of that thing. Just to make that more convenient. Alright, so that's running us low on magnetite. So I got you and you. That's all lead. You're iron. You're iron. You're the tin. Okay, cool. So that gives us what's left there. Okay, so that's... Oh, no, there's more magnetite over there. So yeah, so actually I have a decent amount of magnetite left, because we got the zinc, we got the tin, we got a tiny bit of gold, and all that stuff. Alright. So now, we could wait until tomorrow to actually run down there, but I've got the treasure hunter person marked. So we're gonna run down there. They're a pretty good hike away, which is why I wanted to top off the charcoal before we went. So I can check on the treasure hunter down here. And I believe I've got my tin bronze pickaxe. I believe that's what they asked for. If it's a regular tin, like if it's a tin bronze axe instead of pickaxe, that's fine. We just come back, I heat up the ingot, I smack out an axe real fast, run back down. But they basically said, hey, I've got something really amazing, you should check it out, but it ain't free. Give me a tin bronze pickaxe. So we're gonna do that. Ooh, what's that to the west? That... Oh, no, it might not be. That's ice. It just happened to be evenly spaced. Alright, so let's see here. We're getting over there. Honestly, I'm just going to cut across the water. Just going to be careful, my quarry is down here. I was pulling up all my bauxite. Let's not accidentally chuck ourselves into a deep hole. Yeah, so my quarry should be... Yeah, so we look... Oh, no, that's... Yeah, there's my quarry down there. Yeah, so for those who don't know, this game has... It's a glitch that a lot of game engines have, which is if you move forward and left at the same time, you move faster than if you move forward or left. That you have to actually do a whole, like, equalizing on the math and make sure the way you calculate, like, your movement speed, you kind of control for that. May your mead be sparkly and your bee stings be mild, yeah. So when you're swimming, you can go out diagonal and get a bit more speed. I'm sure there's going to be other things where people are like, oh yeah, if you perfectly time it, you can jump backwards faster. Like, there's all sorts of weird things that people don't think of when they're doing game dev that once you start learning how engines tend to... Ooh. Alright, so I got another ruin on the little island there. And that's still on my to-do list. That could be the next thing, is if after the treasure hunt, it doesn't give me a good direction to go do something, then maybe what we start working on is I go to one of those ruins and we just start excavating. Because that's been one of the curiosities. I know there's teleporters in the game, and I know to a certain extent that you can find them at ruins. I haven't seen one yet. I also don't know what it takes to activate them, do them, don't spoil. But like any of the things around them. My assumption of the benefit is the teleporters probably have... So I could see it a couple ways. One, they could have like a set range that each teleporter teleports you 20,000 blocks or whatever the amount is. I could see it also being a thing that literally there is no limit. It's just somewhere else on the world map. There is a linked teleporter. You hit one, it takes you to the other, and vice versa. Guessing it was plainly visible, or sometimes you get lucky. Okay. Alright, treasure hunter. I have your pickaxe. And apparently, you got resin right there. I got your tin bronze pickaxe you asked for. Now tell me what you know. I appreciate that. Now listen up. I found it a couple weeks back. A massive cavern with a huge figure looming within it. Scared me senseless. So, I got out of there real quick. But I could tell you, it's gotta be full of treasure. Full of trouble too, no doubt. Here's a map to get there. If you're going, you're gonna want to be prepared. It's not easy trekking through the tunnels. I already gave you the map. No interest, please. I can see it sticking out of your belt. What do you got to trade? Yeah, you had some clothes and all that. You didn't really have a whole lot I wanted right now. Oh, apparently we can ride elk. I think I saw that before. A broken blackguard helmet. Well, that's interesting. So, I believe the blackguard helmet I couldn't make. Okay, so we've got the map. And if I use the guide on the map, it literally shows me nothing. Good luck. The proximate location of the Resonance Archives is added to your world map. Oh. You are literally farther away than I have traveled the entire time here. Okay, well, cool. I'm not doing that right now. Because that's definitely going to be way farther away than I can reasonably run down there and get back and support stuff. But, interesting nonetheless. That'd definitely be one I would want to bring legitimate armor with me. Pretty close, all things considered? Yeah, no, considering the scope of the world, it's like Valheim, where you see like the little pin appear down here, and then depending on how much you explored, it could be not that big a deal, or it could be like, oh crap, that's like the far end of everything. It also depends like what terrain is between you. Because you'll have times they'll be like, oh, it's just over there, but then you've got nothing but mountainous, awful terrain, and it's just a slog. And then you have other times where it's like just plains, and you'll just book it across the plain super fast. Okay, so I've got some ruins here. So there's not much in the ruins here. Let's not do those ruins. Let's find where's one of the big ruin areas. I definitely saw ruins that had a lot of chunks to them. Are they not nearby anywhere? It's not looking like they're nearby anywhere. Yeah, because I had a ruin marker here. It's probably over here, completely wrong direction for where I am now. It's not that one. There was one that I noticed the ruins were big enough that I could, like, make them out plainly from the map. Oh, that's probably where he dug in the ground there. Huh. Oh, it's that one where I got the multiple ruin markers up there. How close is that to me right now? Completely other area? Sure, I'll just go to the little island I found. Because this ruin I'm looking at now is literally underwater, and I just don't want to deal with the water. Time is catching up to you? Yeah, no, I'm probably going to go a little bit late just because I didn't switch games till pretty late in the stream. So I'm probably going to go a little long on this part. Hello. You're full of what? Rice grain. Okay. Where did you get rice? Should have brought shovels, but it's okay. This isn't the ruin I was thinking about. Yeah, so let's just keep mining down. Because the theory is that we would find more ruins down below. And it's not... I mean, there is more bauxite cobblestone down here. But the question is, if I keep digging down, will I find more? I'm actually curious if it did pocket in just from that one wall on the side, but we'll see. Alright, so I'm just trying to get a feel for like how far this thing goes. Okay. Yeah, I'm just kind of trying to dig this up as best we can to inspect. Because I'm also curious, like, we might find more jars down here. Like, I genuinely don't know. I haven't taken the time to dig up any ruins or anything like that. And it does feel like you could potentially find good stuff. And this one, so far, all we found was the rice grain, which is interesting. Not super amazing or useful, but interesting. Okay, so it does go out this far. Because we'll dig down. Now, the thing, like I said, I don't know is if we keep digging down, do we find more interesting things, or is it just, you know, it's on the surface, like, what you see is what you get kind of things. You can definitely see it going either way. Okay. I'm also deliberately going a little wide because I might get down here, see stuff, and then mine out and have the sand collapse in on me. Wouldn't be the first or last time. Alright. This will also be fine because we can top off or box it. Not that I super need it. Be a good source for it. Do I have anything to make? I think that's too soft to make into tools. Yeah, it's fine. We're only going to go a couple layers deep. And then it'll be just regular old mining. Alright. Yeah, I want to see if any of this is poking into the bauxite flooring. That's kind of my thought, is if I see any of the cobblestone sticking in the bauxite flooring, then that's a strong indicator that's like, yes, this digs into the ground, check deeper. Whereas, if we clear all this, and then there's none of the bauxite flooring is disturbed, there's a pretty good chance that, like, it's just a surface ruin kind of thing. Yeah, because that goes over there. Alright. So, I'm going to go ahead and, even though I'm not seeing any indicators it goes deeper, we're just going to go deeper. I can use the bauxite anyways. Yeah, I'm kind of just trying to corkscrew around to what would have been roughly the middle of this. And I'm low-key hoping we'll find... We've seen a couple of times underground ruins that didn't end up finding anything in them. So I'm low-key hoping we'll kind of find one of those. And that, you know, be able to correlate being like, okay, ruin on the surface means check down. Okay. Was not too encouraging. We're getting a little bit on the deep side, but we'll see. We're not hitting the point that stability is an issue or anything like that. Alright. I really should be bringing ladders. Okay. Try -30. Yeah, so I think we're getting to the point where it's probably safe to assume there is not ruins just straight up buried deep underground beneath ruins. I'll keep looking a little farther just to do my diligence. But this is pretty deep. Nowhere near the deepest I've been. I think the deepest we've gone was like mid-80s negative. When we're trying to find that first node. All that. Oh, I'm getting a ton of andesite again that I'm going to have to figure out where I'm putting because I keep digging down to this. The paths have been the only thing I've been using a lot of the stone for. It's definitely something I need to find a material sink on it. -50. When my inventory is full of the stone, we stop. Because that'll be the point where I'm like, yeah, no, I've done what I'm gonna do. Because as we get deeper, we will start having our stability will continue to get worse. I kind of figured if there's gonna be a ruin beneath it, it'd only be down like 20 blocks, 10 blocks, or either immediately below it or something like that. My guess is those archives to the south, that might ultimately lead me to the hang glider schematics. Because I know we've seen that there are hang gliders and hang glider schematics. And certainly we discussed that there should be ways to travel quicker. And, you know, the response to that is usually probably it's going to be the teleporter or potentially the glider. Now, the question is if it's just a glider traveling, like, really far distance. Not near where you, What am I hearing? I don't know. But I was hearing something like muffled, like... I don't know. Maybe just by my ears. I'll need to get out of here soon because of... hunger. Alright. Actually, don't I have some berries on me? Not like I need more wine. Plus, we're right about to get our next harvest of berries, and most of those are honestly probably going to be just rot. I don't think realistically I can find a home for enough barrels to make that happen without a huge amount of work that I'm unwilling to do. I'm also low-key, I haven't just dug down. So I'm kind of just like, alright, let's just dig down, just take this as far as we can. Okay, so our sanity is starting to really take a hit. It's not low yet, but that gear is starting to spin faster and faster and faster down. As that starts to spin to the left, you'll see it start going from that kind of teal color to gray. Once it starts getting down to like 25, 20%, somewhere in that area, the world will start getting it'll kind of start twitching and all sorts of stuff. And at that stage, we will, we will start having enemies spawn on us and a whole bunch of problems. Okay, we're at minus 100 depth. And the other thing, the andesite just goes the whole way down, it seems like. Considering the tools in this game, I wouldn't imagine they have you go much deeper than this. So I'm kind of curious where the bottom is. Mantle. Require tool tier 196 to break. Alright, so I guess it's the hard bottom there. Good to know. So, we reached rock bottom. So, I feel like we have absolutely done the absolute diligence to make sure there is not a ruin down there. Now I gotta go a bit more progression from that. Tool tier 196. Yep. Okay, so the good news is we got our map. It's gonna take us way down there. So it is one of those things that makes me curious, like the big cave and all that. If it's one of those ones you could just cheese by just running through the wall. My assumption is going down to that area, it probably has a very low stability. And so even if you try and do something cheeky like circumvent a lot of it by just kind of sticking to the walls or whatever, it won't do you any good. Okay, first we need to unlock nuclear power, then the adamantite core driller. Yeah, I know, exactly. How do you get to 196? Well, first we need to get our, you know, superconductor powered Hadron Collider drilling mechanism. Because apparently a particle accelerator would work at drilling, which does not sound the case. No, it does, because you make mini black holes on the surface, and you pit it really slowly with mini black holes. Have you tried non-surface ruins? Yeah, so we found 2 non-surface ruins, and we dug around one of them a bit. Not as thoroughly as I probably should have, but it was one of those things. I was sitting on a small mountain of copper, and it was like very early game when I really needed the copper, and I was just getting harassed by a bunch of the drifters. So I was finally like, you know what? I'm taking my copper and leaving. It's totally the kind of game where they may enter there eventually. I want to say from what people had said, I think the devs had like a specific kind of time frame in the game that they had in mind for where they wanted to kind of leave things at. At least with mods. Oh yeah, I know with the mods, anything is on the table. Alright, so let's go check on everything, make sure our steel is still stealing. drop off our unreasonable amount of andesite. But yeah, no, you're not wrong that I should probably check the underground ruins as well. Because I haven't really been doing that. Drop off the dirt, and the sand, and the gravel. We have rice grain, which I'm probably never going to get more of. I guess you go here. Yeah, and be careful giving too much information. This is my first playthrough, and I am going to want to find it. Now, obviously, I did... Oh, I'm starving. I was like... I wasn't paying attention to our hunger, and just like, wait, why am I taking damage? I don't understand. Alright, let's go get our food. Yeah, you're no good. Like, you're sorry. You're good. It was one of those things that I just very genuinely did just test that. Now, granted, it could be that sometimes they were there, but I felt with a certain level of confidence after checking that one. It's like, all right, we came up empty. It's probably empty. We'll drop the map off right now. I don't need it on my person. Luckily, starvation is a slow process. Slow patootie? Yeah, but I mean, the tootie's a bonus. It almost makes you want to starve. Alright, so deal with those in a minute. So how are you doing? You still burning away? Okay, wait for that to be lower to refill it. So meanwhile, all these bloomeries, they've finished making their iron. Surprised it's not hurting me to do that. You should have given me a lot more than 32 bricks back on that. Or maybe not. Maybe I'm overestimating how many bricks this all gives. Okay. Okay. How are we doing on the snack attack? There, so now we stop starving for a minute. Okay. So I can go over here. Yeah, it won't be enough for another one. So we grab 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, we have 2 stacks of iron to put in there. I got all the tin bronze just laying around now if I decide I want it for something. So take those 2, put them on the bar. Let's keep the iron going. Because we're going to end up needing lots and lots and lots and lots of iron. Grab you. So then what we can probably do from there, so I've seen 2 underground ruins, and I know where one is. The other one I don't remember. But our very first copper node that we found had an underground ruin, like, right smack in the middle of it. So you can drop all the iron bloom in there for later dealing with. Yeah, I wouldn't be able to slip charcoal past it, I don't think, to keep it going. It just needs to go down one last spot. I could slip some over the other side, because I heard it plays for a second. Alright, let's check on all our food. 7 of 9, 6 of 8, 3. Those are really close. They're one stage off. Okay, none of that's ready. Alright, you're done. You're done. You're almost done. Okay, so got a little bit of flax. You want to keep all that going. Because when winter happens, you can't grow things anymore. There's a little ways into the winter you can keep things growing, but once it starts getting properly cold, that's just it. Okay, so you got all that. Got more string for making flax and all that, or for making cloth and all that if I need to. Drop that off. Okay. So, if we're going to check out where... Oh man, so that was where the bismuth was. Oh, right. I literally actually have the underground ruins marked right there. Yeah. No, yeah, you have greenhouses, but the greenhouses only make it 5 degrees Celsius warmer, which does let you go a bit farther into the winter, but it's not enough to just, like, literally go through the entire winter. You will still get to the point where your crops still freeze to death. But it lets you start the season a little early and go a little bit longer. And when I'm saying a little bit, it's not just a day or two, it's actually a decent amount. Yeah, so an underground ruin over here. And the only thing I tried to do with the underground ruin was, it kind of looked like there was naturally a doorway on one side, so I started mining that way. And came up empty after going like 8 or 9 tiles. I'm like, alright, I think that was a miss. Tried going the opposite direction, so if like that way was a door, and I got nothing, I tried to go the reverse. But didn't like dig it up. Yeah, for greenhouse to be really effective, you gotta find a sweet spot local temperature-wise. You haven't made a greenhouse in so long because you stopped bothering. I mean, I did find the greenhouses to be relatively useful. The only downside is, even with like the +5 Celsius, like, the number of days you have between, like, because even if you're within the temperature range, it has to be above freezing for stuff to reasonably grow. So even if you get in that temperature range, you're like, okay, we're going to, like, we're at the over -10 that this crop can tolerate and not die, but we're not at above freezing. It really doesn't seem like there's much time at all between you're at the point the crop won't just straight up die and above freezing. It's only a couple of days that seem to be the difference. Probably really should go to plant these. I'm kind of just being lazy about planting the more bushes, and then when we get to winter, I'll probably go and take the time to do all that. Expand all that stuff when I don't need to worry about it. No, I don't care about mushrooms. It's funny, when you're first playing the game and, like, everything edible you're gonna pick up because you can kinda use it. Like, it's not something you want to skip on. But after your first winter and you've got your crops established, it's like, yep. Don't care. Half of this is gonna become rot. And then you get, like, the really fancy dirt. And then it becomes rot faster. I think for me, the greenhouse is mostly just getting through your first winter, being able to start your crops with at least a good couple days sooner, just to make all that a bit more easy on you. But that said, for my first time playing and not having people be like, "Oh no, you need more food," like just kind of naturally being like, "All right, I need to have some food ready." Like, my food supply got properly low, like, right by the end of winter, that I was having to kind of hunt a bit aggressively. But that's about all I had to do, because I had plenty that I had managed to stash. Honestly, not even focusing on it, I was mostly focusing on trying to get my tools up and running. I do dislike these style of hills. It's one thing that if I was on a server, I would probably just sit there and make it a point where people were. I would find those hills, and I would just carve a tunnel level through the hill from one side to the other, so I wouldn't have to, you know, schlep up one side and down the other again. Okay, so if we go over here, I should have where we were getting our olivine, whatever, the grain rock. And I had a corner that dipped down into a ruin, and we ran around there a little bit. Okay, so we're at calm. We ran around there just a little bit. Okay, so it should be, I think, this one that I dug down here. Get wrecked, nerd. And I want to say it was way down here. So all of this was olivine. Then I plugged it up so things spawning down there couldn't cause me grief. Was trying to grab ore and whatnot. There's still junk here? I'm honestly impressed that between play sessions it remembered that was there. So let's grab a couple more paradox blocks. Because I want to go and fence that off, so while I'm messing around down there, I'm not dealing with crap dropping on top of me. It's probably good enough. Okay. Yeah, so I went up here, and I mined this way just a little bit. And remember, I was in the middle of things, so I didn't keep pushing. Let's mine a little bit farther this way. Alright, I'm going to assume Bumpkus. So we'll try digging underneath it, we'll try digging around it. Because this is one of 2 underground ruins. And both of them had this kind of exact same look. Like, it wasn't literally tile for tile the exact same, but just, you know, kind of, there was a spot of water with, like, a little bridge thing on it, that just kind of went into a wall. Yeah, because then this would be the other direction, which I thought I had in mind, but apparently not. Now pull up that sand. Because I'm looking to see... There's something hanging in the bottom of the bridge section. I didn't see that, but like I said, we're going to check it out here in just a minute. I'm going to dig a little bit this way. Not a significant, like, just like 5-10 blocks. Just because I suspect it'd be one of those things, if there is something here, it'd be kind of like right here. Because them expecting you to, like, find a bridge and then dig in a direction for 100 blocks. Not that it couldn't be a thing. I don't know how they would expect you as the player to reasonably guess that that's a thing. Especially when we consider from, like, any type of realism or whatever. This is solid peridotite. Alright, and this will be the last set. Okay. Alright. So hanging something from the bottom of the bridge. I don't think I saw something hanging from the bottom of the bridge. So let's start pulling up some dirt. Some sand or whatever. See if there's anything underneath here. Oh, I see. That makes sense. The other thing is, where's that water coming from? Okay, it's literally just a source block right there. Yeah, it's peridotite rock, so... Yeah, so I think it's worth checking to make sure there isn't just some, like, pocket of water under, or anything underneath here. Because even if we don't find, like, something substantial, I could see there being, like, a little jar of something to pick up. Okay. Alright, yeah, so you're stuck up there because I did wall it off. Yeah, so I'd say the best bet of finding something now with what we've broken. Well, that's interesting. So this might be just intended to look like it's collapsed there, but I could also see it that it's intended to look like there was a staircase here previously, and that would be the answer that says no. Alright, so let's start actually damaging things. Okay. So I've disassembled the entire ruin there. And I'm saying, feeling pretty comfortable. There is nothing down here. And the jankiness of the water where I've dug here is like vacuuming me back into where the base of the bridge was. Okay, I'm not worried about trying to pick up all the individual brick. Okay, so I feel pretty comfortable. We do not have something down here. At least not that's going to be immediately accessible. And let's get out of here. And that whole area that's open down there is where I mined ore out of. Is a really big node. Alright. Since I'm standing right here and there's a trade person right here and I happen to have a gear in my inventory, let's see if they have anything worthwhile. And I probably at that point should get back home because most likely the charcoal's down. Nothing interesting? Not me, that's fine, whatever. What do you got in trade? You are willing to sell me doors and fire clay. Or a lantern. But you charge a lot for the lantern, so you can keep the lantern, because I can make my own lantern. Okay. Still, it was worth checking out. Yeah, because the other one would have been... That's a surface ruin. Yeah, where was the other place we found copper? Yeah, I think this is the other place we found copper. Yeah, and that's where we found the other copper, was right down there. And we dug down here. We're like around here, and somewhere in there we had, like I said, almost the exact same ruin style. But like I would suspect the teleporters will be like that. It'll be like that underground ruin, except instead of being like some bridge that doesn't go anywhere in this weird like little stone pocket, it's probably gonna have like a translocator or something like that. I could also definitely see that the place we got the map for is that map most likely you're talking like a genuine actual set of like tunnels and everything. I don't know how big. I also suspect when we get there its local stability is going to be horrendously bad. Because normally, like, when you play games for, like, example, Terraria, there was a lot of areas that you're supposed to be fighting tough enemies. You could just kind of camp out in the wall and use various things to attack enemies through the wall. To just cheese things like the jungle temple and all that. You could do that kind of stuff. And so I could definitely see them making it so the stability was super terrible, because that would be kind of your workaround in this game. By having the stability so incredibly awful, you would still need to deal with it. Alright, so that didn't work out quite the way I wanted. There we go. It's not stacking because the other ones aren't as fresh. Hey, turnips. I do not have inventory space, and I got more than enough seeds of you. I honestly shouldn't be caring about the berries either. But it's fine. Okay, so let's go over here. Just need to get past these, like, annoying spiky hills. I'll check on the steel production. Now, I'm not 100% sure on what we're streaming tomorrow. I might do more Vintage Story just to kind of wrap it up. But I also might break something out of left field. I don't think we'll be doing more No Man's Sky until, like, the next, significant thing happens. I had a lot of fun doing, like, the bonus streams of it. But it's starting to kind of wind down now that the expedition is not fresh and all that. So it feels like it's time to go and do something else for a while till the next thing happens and spin back for more No Man's Sky at that point. Because No Man's Sky is excellent. But I don't want to binge it when it's kind of... I'm going to call it an off-season or whatever you want to call it. Oh, good. Lead. Like when you're between things going on. It's a good time to be checking out our games. Like, Going Medieval's one I've been considering doing another peek at. They just had an update for Medieval Dynasty. That, there was one a while back that had, like, cosmetic stuff that I didn't check out because I was like, okay, well, I just did this before the cosmetic thing, and the cosmetic didn't change much. But my understanding is they had a bit more significant of an update that just happened. So that's potentially one to consider. I know there's been a ton of games updating to a point I haven't been able to keep up. Okay, so we got another ruin here. Let's just happen to peek while we're here. So I'm curious, we're not going to dig long. I'm just curious if we'll see, like, another jar just tucked right under the surface here. Not looking encouraging. I'll leave it alone. I don't have tools nor the inventory space, so quick peek is good enough for me for now. Alright. Okay, and there's my highway. Alright. More peat for me to dig up down here. Yeah, this one highway I kind of regret doing, the Skyway. Because, I made highways that left my base in almost all the cardinal directions. And each one I followed, like, a different strategy. Like, one I had, like, the sky bridge. The other one I kept it at exactly, like, 1 or whatever it was elevation and never went higher than that. The last one I had, like, kind of just conformed to the surface, so it went up and down for the hills. And yeah, the Skyway was definitely the wrong answer. The other ones were all fine, but the Skyway was fine. Because it's fine, you can see it from a distance, and then you can't get on it because you need, like, on and off ramps, which means even more materials. So that's the whole thing. Yeah, so ripen soon. And pop over here. Clear out our inventory. I wish the gears stacked. Oh, we can go over here. Oh, so we can drop that all in there. Chuck, there we go, peridotite. Okay. So that should light them both up. Keep that going. Still got heat and smoke going in there. Alright, so pretty soon I'm going to want to let it run out long enough to take a peek in there, because we're actually probably getting relatively close to the probably getting pretty close to the point that it'll be good to go. Okay, so you're fruiting. You'll be ripe in 4 days. Alright, we got our apples. It's this tree state ripe, but I've already picked it clean. Okay, so it looks like I just have the yellow apples left. Okay, so the cherries rot super duper fast, but the apples are good for 40 days. And so imagine if I put the apples in the cellar, they'll probably last for well over that. So we can go over here. Yeah, 1.4 years, so there's no reason to prematurely juice those. We can just wait till we get a decent amount. Alright, so we got all that sorted out, and all the goodies going on here. You're doing your thing, you're doing your thing. Okay, so let's see. The next possible venture to consider would honestly be checking out whatever the heck it is to the south. The only hesitancy I have for doing that in the first place is just the fact that, one, it's going to be a big fight. And honestly, I find the combat in this game to be pretty obnoxious. So it's kind of going out of my way to something I have very low expectations of. Let's see here. And it is a hike. So Loki is kind of thinking, wait till we get that first batch of steel. Where I had intended to make it into a bunch of tools, I keep kind of thinking that unless the tools are like ridiculously better, making the armor is probably the better use of it. There's your bronze. Let's actually check that. So if we take an iron pickaxe, so an iron pickaxe has a durability of 1,000, and a steel pickaxe has a durability of 2,500. So it is 1.5 times the durability for what it's worth, and it breaks stuff faster. So that probably would honestly last a decent amount of time. It is a bit obnoxious that I can go through an iron pickaxe if I really put the time in one day, versus this thing, you know, takes a full 7 days. Yeah, it's only a little bit better breaking rock, but still. Okay, if we were to make the big adventure all the way the heck... Oh man, it's so far down there. Because I gotta think, these distances I'm running is just from there to there, and it is double that. And that's the Resonance Archives. And we're expecting that to be an awful place. So it is a place where if I get myself in trouble, our crap is gone. So realistically what I'd want to do is run down there pretty far, make myself drop a spawn point down there. That way if I die, I'm right nearby. But I wouldn't have equipment. So I'll toss a gear in my bag, just because I can. To move our spawn point, which I'm not super excited about doing. The other thing I need to do is have some travel-capable food. Those apples, I believe, said they lasted 40 days without anything else going on. Yeah, so you take the vegetable stew. So those apples honestly would last long enough, because it'd probably only take me 2-3 days to run down there. Yeah, and I don't want to make a bunch of bread. Maybe I literally... Let's check on the apples. So how long do the apples last? The apples last for 40 days. While I would love to make apple wine because that seems fun, I'm going to bring the apples with me. That should be more than enough food. Honestly, very genuinely, I could probably just find fruit on the way. Yeah, I'm going to be lazy. We'll just run that way and we will grab food along the way. And I might end up regretting that a lot. Let's play it safe. Bring a cooking pot could be useful. I mean, with a cooking pot, at that stage, I might as well just bring something like the apples. Because that many apples should be plenty. Well, the apples, I think, actually, were they only 80 nutrition? Because actually, that's true that that's not that much nutrition. But yeah, no, I'd want to bring the cooking pot and a whole bunch of things if I were to take that approach. I think realistically what you do is you bring... Yeah, so that's only 80... Okay, so it's actually not that great. I'm gonna just take my chances running. Plus meals slow it. Yeah, but I gotta haul all the stuff for meals. You do have enough weapons? Oh, that's... Thank you for the reminder. I actually do have a spare weapon. Just sitting on the wall down here that's been waiting for its time to shine. So, bam. Yeah, honestly, with running across here, I should be seeing a lot of berries. Take the cooking... Well, the only hesitation I have with bringing the cooking pot is I gotta bring the cooking pot, and so it's like, it's bringing the cooking pot, not a big deal. Bringing the 6 bowls, not a big deal. I already have a source for fire, cool. It's the fact that I gotta have stuff to cook on the other end. And that's the snag. Because that means finding either killing animals, finding root crop and that kind of stuff. And at that stage, I'm almost like in the mindset to being like, you know what? I'll just pick berries. We're well into berry season. We can just pick some heckin' berries. Or bring 2 stacks of veggies. Yeah, I think honestly for this, I think it's only gonna take me a day or 2 to get down there. Oh, you're saying bring the cooking pot with food. I mean, you know what? I am already... Yeah, no, that's what I think the correct decision if I'm not being lazy. I think the correct decision if you're not being lazy is to just make a bunch of bread and bring the bread with you. Because it'll last something like 7 or 8 days just in your pocket or whatever it is. I am going to go ahead and make another round of soup. I might as well at least bring that because as we eat the soup, it is going to do that. Hey, bear. Alright, I do have enough spears. Alright. Thank you for your contributions, Bear. Okay. So I landed every single one but the very first spear. That very first spear was a miss. Oh, no, I got them all. I think. No, I think I'm short one. It's also possible it broke. They are crappy stone spears. Actually, at this point, I might as well cook all that game meat. We can make our soup, make a bunch of game meat. We'll eat the game meat on the way down since it won't last very long. Chuck you in there. Oh, yeah, that's fine. We'll just leave that stack there. Right. So we got all that set up. You're all good. Let's see. Raw. That's fine. Because I need to take the time to get the tannin down. Because we had our leather working down there, but slowly getting it out of there. So we could drop off the fat. Just shove it over here. And drop off the bone. And what I'm going to actually do is, because I am noticing the time, we're not going to start that venture right now. Because it is getting a bit late. I've gone a little bit over my normal time because we did switch games pretty late. But what I think I'll end up doing is probably, there's a good chance I'll play this tomorrow. And then most likely what we'll end up doing with that, because like, very genuinely looking at what we got here, this thing is probably 70-80% or something like that done. There's a pretty good chance right by the beginning of stream that should get sorted. We can make ourselves some steel stuff and potentially go on a journey. And then, like I said, my intention for this run is when we get all of our, like, not all of our, when we get some, like, steel equipment going on, that's the progression I'm going to be aiming for. But we'll see. Like, we're definitely not done with the game yet. But I am suspecting what'll happen the next stream is we will get our steel equipment, which is the thing that's like, this is the thing we'll finish. I might go down there and poke the scary thing just to get a look at the scary thing. And that might be kind of our journey, unless I like get super into that. But I might, let's see, rough terms, how many hours do you figure from start to steel? We're going to get steel around just shy of 100 hours I will have in there. Now, granted, that's with me not knowing all the different ways of dealing with things and not focusing directly on going after steel. I imagine if you focused on steel, like that was just your goal and you had prior knowledge, you could probably cut that time down to 40 hours, 30 hours, maybe less if you're like speedrunning kind of things. Because it would be, you'd have to like beeline for the copper to then, you know, you need to beeline to the copper to then get your bronze, to then get your iron. And so there'd be a lot of there. Yeah, it's probably, I'd guess like 30, 40 hours. You could probably reasonably get that in without speedrun strats or whatever. Like just as a player who is knowledgeable, prioritizing it kind of thing. But yeah, so with all that said, what's going to end up happening here is we are going to be wrapping up with Vintage Storge Day. Like I said, I'm not sure if we'll be playing this tomorrow or the next day. We'll figure it out when we get there. Either way, we are going to play at least one more stream of Vintage Story. I want to get the iron or the steel equipment. I am kind of contemplating with the steel we have, the 12, 14, whatever ingots we're going to get out of this first batch. You did a steel speed run in about 20 hours. Yeah, I imagine if you know the speed run strats and the tricks, you could probably knock it out in that kind of time. Probably even less than that. I think the big thing would honestly be just getting all the fire clay and all that kind of stuff sorted. Also, if you're not streaming, but that makes a little change to Rual's playtimes, you feel? Yeah. No, there's also definitely the streaming factor. Yeah, so like for me, I don't feel bad at all about taking almost 100 hours because new to the game, didn't look anything up, was kind of pushing back and backseating and all that kind of stuff while streaming. And had different priorities. I wasn't beelining on steel, so I feel pretty good about 100 hours for that kind of thing for my very first go. I don't feel like that was slow. I don't feel like that was fast. It feels like a nice, reasonable pace. Easily less than that. The most annoying thing is getting your first tools, deciding to pan or scrape off all the surface stuff. Yeah, like the pan feels like that's the most reliable one, even if it is just sitting there kind of going like this for like half an hour. Versus running around and just, if you get the RNG and you get lucky and you grab like 8 or 9 pieces real fast, you're set. Versus if you get unlucky and you just aren't finding it. you can drag it on. Let's see, you get into the game, you're going to be leaning heavily on your gardening and bushcraft knowledge. You wonder how much that transfers? No idea. With that said, what's going to end up happening, if you are over on YouTube, the stream will be ending abruptly because I don't have a host ready for there. But if you have enjoyed today's content, you're not already following the channel, don't forget to drop a follow. That's kind of how this whole streaming thing works. But what I'm going to end up doing is putting up my ending stream screen and seeing who we can find to drop a raid on, because there's going to be plenty of people